I want to show you how to sell a luxury home without a real estate agent in this video. If you don't know me, my name is Sam Coleman. I've been selling luxury real estate for 10 years in Las Vegas. My average price point is just over $3.5 million. If you follow me on social media, you know I'll sell anything over $10, $15 million. I'll also sell a $500,000 home, doesn't matter. I'm into servicing people, not price points. However, at the number one luxury brokerage in Las Vegas, we service and specialize in luxury real estate. Now, if you have a property and you want to sell it and you're tired of real estate agents and the whole process and yada, 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 the new NAR changes, everything that's happened over the last year, this video is for you. If you want the guide, there's a free guide that I created with all of these steps in it in the description below. If you don't want an explanation to anything, you just want the guide, go ahead and download it. Or you can download that guide right now and follow along with it, and it'll help make a little bit sense about what I'm saying. Or if you know a friend or a family member that's trying to sell a property, or they had a bad experience with an agent and they're just like, hey, forget it, I'm gonna do it myself. Download that guide, send this video to them. Now, when it comes to luxury real estate, there is a difference. Whoever says, just get this in your brain, whoever says a house is a house, the process is the process, it's not the same. There are some foundational ground rules, some principles that could be the same, but overall it's not the same. So the basic stuff, and you would think that in certain price points, these things will be automatic, but they're not. I've seen so much, and people that have bought properties over and over again that make the mistake that someone that's buying their first property has made as well. However, we're going to get into that. So let's jump right into it. So first, we're going to declutter and depersonalize your home. And here's what that means. It's not just, hey, let me get all this stuff and just shove it in a closet. What you need to know that the first impression that somebody will get when they view your home digitally is what they see, right? So for example, we can go to a bedroom. The main areas like the living room, when somebody walks through the front door, when they see it online, the front of the house, the back of the house, the drone footage, the primary bedroom, the countertop should be clean. No soaps, no sponges, no towels. None of your personal items should be displayed. If you have an organization of, let's say, cotton balls, Q-tips, and anything that you use in the bathroom and it's clean and it's organized, sure, those things are fine, especially if it's like in a porcelain container with a wooden top and it's something that's aesthetically pleasing, sure. But for the most part, you want to declutter and depersonalize the home. There are ways digitally to cover the faces of people in your family portraits where you want something on the wall, but you don't want to take it down. You don't want to go buy something to stage it. And we'll get into staging. But there's a way that you can leave your personal items there and have a photographer blur those faces out. That's a possibility. Now, the furniture that you have in your home, sometimes as a dad, as a father, we have dogs, we have kids. The lifestyle that we live in our home is not staged as a model home ready to sell all the time, right? And that's really not practical for a lot of people's lives. So your current home as it stands, very rarely do I walk into a home and it's picture perfect, ready to go. We can take pictures today, put it on the market today. Chances are you're gonna need to get some staging, take some of the personalized pillows off. The bright colors need to go away. You need to make it neutral. It needs to appeal to the masses. You don't want a very specific home because you narrow the amount of buyers. And because of the day that we live in where people doom scroll, the same thing is going to happen with your home. And I've seen it myself with my own family as we shop for a home, and even with my clients as we shop for a home. Now, your main entrance when you walk into a home, and let's say you have a home, it's $1 million. 1 to 3 million, that type of buyer, and I'm qualified to say this, I believe, because I spend a lot of time with these people. 1 to 3 million, that buyer that walks into a home or sees the home online will discount the home, not even walk through it, if they walk in and they're just not drawn to the home. You could lose a buyer with an incredible primary bedroom and an incredible backyard with a very lackluster digital presence, or the entry of the home, it just is not inviting. You could lose them there. So if you declutter, you depersonalize, make sure your furniture fits the spaces. And a lot of times this could be a treadmill in the bedroom. That screams, I don't have enough space in my home. So because this home is too small, I'm multi-purposing a room, an office that has a bed and a piece of gym equipment? Is it an office? Is it a gym equipment? What is this space, right? It screams that the space is too small. So we don't want to have that, right? This is the mindset thinking about getting your home ready to sell. Now, cleaning. I can't count. I can't even tell you how many times I've walked into a home with a buyer. I notice it, but to hear a buyer notice it, I feel bad for the seller because their agent didn't tell them. When you walk into a home and the cleanliness of the home, from baseboards not being dusted, ceiling fans not being dusted, light fixtures not being dusted, and your ventilation system, your air vents, the filters haven't been changed. This screams that the property isn't cared for. $1 to $3 million buyers, 3 to 6, $10 million buyers, these are more savvy people that look at these items because now, especially today, interest rates are hovering about 6.5 to 7%. Money is expensive. So if you're buying $1 million home, you're going to have an $8,000 a month mortgage. A $3 million home, you're going to have an $18,000 a month mortgage, right? Somewhere in there. People are going to pay attention to the details. We no longer can buy a home 2 years later, try to increase it by 35, 40%, and think that buyers are just going to pay it just because there's not a lot of inventory. Those days are gone. I'm with these buyers every single day, and I want you to know these are the conversations that they're having in private and that they're having with me. Hey, Sam, Sandy and I talked. We don't think this home is worth it, and we don't even want to insult the seller. Let's skip this property. So now you don't get a seller, the buyer, potential buyer, that's looking in the price range to even come see your home because of things that they see before they even get there, or things that they notice in the photos, if that makes sense. Now, staging. There are stats, there are actual data points that show homes that are staged sell for significantly more and significantly faster than homes that aren't staged. Most people don't have the ability to vacate the property, go live somewhere else while their home is being sold. I understand that's not realistic. If it's possible, 100% get out of there. If you can move into your next property, get that property staged, get all your personal items out, have it clean and taken care of, great. But if that's not the case, you're going to want to have the home staged in a way where you can still live in it. And if you got kids, the spaces are off limits. Maybe you have some pillows and throws that you keep wrapped up so that when there's a showing, you take them out, you put them on the couch, you put your personalized pillows away, and then come back, right? So there are ways that you can work around it, but you have to consider staging your home. I have clients right now that do not believe in staging, and we have comparable homes that have staged, and in their mind, they're proud of their property, and they feel that this home should sell itself. I understand. However, most people that are looking at your home do not understand. They don't know where the couch should go. Should it be a U-shaped couch? Should it be an L-shaped couch? Should there be an ottoman? Should there be a coffee table? Where does the dining room table go? Is it eat-in? Is there a formal dining room? Where does my art go? Like, people can't visualize that as you can when you built the house or you designed the house or what made you choose it, right? So these are things that you're going to want to have done prior to even saying this house is for sale. That's how you prepare. Now, your pricing. There are 4 to 5 reasons why homes do not sell at all. It comes down to the same thing every single time. If you list your home for sale, the very first reason that a home won't sell is the real estate agent and brokerage that you choose. Lack of leadership from that agent. Most of the time, this is the number one cause of unhappy clients from real estate agents, is the lack of communication and understanding what's going on with their property. Most people don't understand that when they go to hire an agent, the likelihood of an agent being capable, willing, able to communicate effectively, as well as sell their home and run a successful business, the chances of them finding the agent that can do that are very low. Most people, most consumers will encounter an agent that will only do a handful of transactions a year. They don't know how to run a business. They don't know how to, what systems or processes need to be put in place so that they can continue to build their business, work on selling the current business that they have, deal with the sellers, the buyers that they're working with, market themselves, handle their books. They just don't understand. Most agents aren't equipped, and it's at no fault to them initially, because there's no book or blueprint on how to do that successfully as a brand new agent. Unless you're fortunate enough to get with a brokerage like this, there are so many things that I did not know until I got connected with the right brokerage. And then I learned, and I had to put all these systems and processes in place, and then it costs money, right? It costs money to be a successful real estate agent. You can't fly by the seat of your pants anymore at this level of selling luxury real estate. So now you got lack of leadership on an agent. The second thing will be location. Location, if you back a street, these homes are least likely to be sold. What I found is people that come from major cities, specifically in Las Vegas, if they come from a New York City, a big city, Miami, where it's loud and chaotic, and they come to Las Vegas, they won't mind backing a street where there's traffic. It reminds them of being home, and that's okay. The next thing is going to be price and condition. If you price your home too high, buyers may not even want to come look at it because it's not in their price range. Or they feel they're looking at the tax record. They can see now what you paid for it, how long you've owned it. If there are photos from the previous listing, maybe you haven't even done anything to the property. And they're like, this woman is crazy that they think they can get this. I'm not even going to come see it. And that could very well be the buyer for your home. We can't get it every time, but most of the time, those buyers won't even come. And then condition. If your home is a little dated, you have to reflect that in the price. You got to reflect that in the price. So maybe your next door neighbor sold for $2.5 million, and your home, you think, all right, we got the same floor plan and some of the same finishes, but my backyard is a little bit bigger, or I did a nicer pool, or my primary bathroom is nicer, I have nicer furniture, whatever. I want to list mine for 2.7. A buyer's going to look and say, $200,000 more? How do you justify your price? And if you aren't able to do that in your descriptions and the items that you've put into your home, if you can't justify that value, buyers won't come see it. Or you'll get lowball offers. It'll be less than your next door neighbor. These are things that we're physically seeing right now and having these conversations day by day. The next thing will be commission. The big C, the banana, whatever you want to call it, the compensation. Due to the new NAR laws, there is no more disclosing on the MLS what the co-op is. Sellers are not required to pay a commission to agents. However, if you don't want to work with agents, cool. This guide will help you do that. If you want to go through all the nuances and showing your property and doing, you do it, 100% do it. However, just understand, if an agent finds your property and they want to bring a client that loves your property, they're going to want to get paid. If you're not offering anything, what incentive? The real estate agents run a for-profit commission-only business, and the commission is negotiable. It doesn't have to be a 1%, a 2%, a 3%, a 5%. None of it is guaranteed. It's negotiable. Most agents don't know how to negotiate. And you should not have an agent, and if you're a buyer and you have an agent right now that can't negotiate for themselves, they probably should be negotiating for you. We have listings right now where we've negotiated with agents, and I've had a seller that was like, hey, I will be willing to pay up to X amount of dollars. And an agent comes in with an offer and they shortchange themselves. They don't even think they're worth it, right? So I understand, why should a buyer or a seller think that they're worth it? However, these are the reasons that homes won't sell, because an agent won't bring a buyer before. Unfortunately, if there was no compensation, because now they're working for free. So you got location, you got lack of leadership from the agent and brokerage, you got location, you got condition, you got price, and you got commission. Now, if the home does not sell, it's probably for one of those reasons. But we want to eliminate that, and this guide will help you. Now, back to last thing on pricing. One way to avoid not knowing how to price your home is just getting an appraisal. You can do this right now. You can get a home inspection, a pool inspection, a structural mechanical inspection, and an appraisal on your property. All this stuff up front before you even get prepared to sell it, so that way you know what needs to be fixed, the problems that the home currently has, just homeowner maintenance issues, getting it clean, getting it staged, Now you have a value, an estimated value of what a buyer could potentially pay from an appraiser. And now you have a starting point. You have a starting point. And if you're like, all right, I got an appraisal. I don't agree with this appraisal. I think my property is worth $100,000 more, $200,000 more. Fine, but at least you know you have a starting point and you can be in some type of arena compared to other homes. Competitive pricing. There have been three. Think of it in tiers, right? As almost like Starbucks. You got your tall, you got your grande, and you got your the big one, the venti, right? So you got these three different tiers. So your tall would be, I'm going to price it under market value to get some activity right away and instigate multiple offers. I have my grande, which is like, hey, I got a property that sold at 2.5. I got a property that sold at 2.6. I'm going to list at 2.55, right? Then you have your venti. Nothing has ever sold. I'm going to try to break a record. I'm going to list this property at my make me move number. My house is nothing is sold over $4 million, but I'm going to list at 48999, right? So whatever. So with these three, there are pros and cons to all of them. Think about going to Starbucks. You're like, hey, I thought I got my caffeine fix, and I thought that this was going to be enough, and it wasn't. Now you can't go up in price much. You've kind of hit that ceiling where buyers, this is the most we're willing to pay over what you listed at. So now you can't go any more than that. Or you listen that sweet spot and you're like, man, we got to offer right away. This is good, but people aren't really willing to go up and we got a bunch of under. Maybe this is the exact fair value of the home because the home is only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. And then the venti, very few times, like you have to have a very special property where you're going to break a record. I've been fortunate enough in several zip codes to do this, to break the record for the most expensive home sold, the highest price per square foot. I hold that record in the Ridges. I hold that record in several subdivisions in 89138 here in Las Vegas, where that's the best school zone in Summerlin, also in 89135. But it's very rare. It's very, very rare. Now, you got your pricing, you set your home up, you got your pricing, you got your appraisal, you did a home inspection, you know what's wrong. You can obviously go through a handyman service, contractors. You can literally Google any of these contractors, any of these people and say, hey, I'm going to be selling my home. I did a home inspection. Here's a list of things. Can you give me a price to fix them? Bam. Now you done got your home stager. You can find a home stager, appraiser. You can find your handyman service, pool contractor, all this stuff. You can just Google it, find the best place. Or another strategy is taking all the things that are wrong with your property, putting it through ChatGPT or a DeepSeek or an AI tool, then asking the AI tool to find the top three with the top three vendors of each space or whatever you need to be done that has the most amount of positive reviews, and then contact them, give them the report, and see who has the best price. That's another strategy. Now, marketing your home effectively. Photography. You don't want to take photos with your phone. And I know this may sound like, who would take photos of a $1 to $2, $3 million, $10 million home with their phone? People do it. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. Even real estate agents will go take a picture, put it on the market as a coming soon, and it's crooked or it's lopsided or the exposure is off. And it's like, this is an $8 to $10 million home. And you're like, coming soon? All right, there goes the excitement, the buildup for this property. This is very lackluster, but that's how you're showing the public that this is what you think of your home, right? No, you want to go get professional photos, and don't just get the photos, look at them and say they're nice. You have to categorize which photos are the best and the ones that aren't, why aren't they? Sometimes it could be exposure if you have a specific type of tile flooring, wood flooring, but then a natural stone. The challenging part with a lot of photographers is understanding the ability to separate the contrast and the brightness. So sometimes it gets blown out and you can't really see the textures of the wood or the natural stone. And if you've ever walked into a place and you said, man, this shows way better in person, that's a photography issue. And sometimes it just can't be corrected because of the different levels of contrast, especially with white kitchens, a white natural stone, and a light white oak flooring is very difficult. When you have multiple, like mass contrast, it's much easier with a light wood flooring and a dark cabinet and a medium colored stone. It's very easy to get the textures because the contrasts are so different, right? right? So that's what you need to understand about photography, but you have to get professional photos. In Las Vegas, there are only a handful, and there's about 22 to 23 top luxury agents. We all know each other. And of the 23 to 24, maybe 25 agents that operate in this space that do a significant amount of business, we all compete for the best photographers because we want our properties to sell faster than our competitors. This is so important because how we show up, what's going to differentiate us is not just our results. There's a huge gap between our brokerage and others in the luxury space. However, there needs to be a defining marketing strategy. And as a private seller, you're going to need that as well. So after you get your professional photos, you're going to want to think about the ideal buyer. This is my strategy. Whenever I go on a listing appointment, and as I'm preparing for this listing appointment, I'm thinking about, all right, who's the seller? They contacted me, they found me on a website, they saw a video, they got a piece of mail from me, something, or they were referred to me, and I look at this person, I do my research on the current homeowner. Who are they? Where do they come from? Now, what's the lifestyle of this current person? So most of the time, I can almost say if this person is between 40 and 55, they are identifying as active, sports, tennis players, golf. They have children. They like being close to the airport. Whatever that specific current homeowner's lifestyle is, I want to think about that. And I'm like, all right, how can I target market but still be compliant? Because there are rules like fair housing. You can't discriminate. Just because you are 40 to 55, I can't not market to 30-year-olds or 20-year-olds, et cetera, or 70-year-olds, right? So, but I'm thinking about how can I narrow my search to where I can identify the most targeted way to bring the buyers that I fell in love with this place because it's close to the tennis courts, it's in a country club, it's close to the airport, it's close to the strip, my favorite restaurants, whatever. So now I'm like, all right, who are the people that like this stuff? And I want to build an avatar based on that. And now, where are these people located? How can I market to the people that fit this description in this location to instigate activity for this property? That's another marketing strategy. Now, as you create the listing, the appraisal will help you because now you'll get the measurements. Now you'll know the exact square footage of your home. You'll know everything that a potential buyer may need to know because you got this appraisal, you got these measurements, and obviously you lived in a home. Now, as you create the listing, you got these photos and you categorize them. You know what photos are the best and which ones are the least. Things that we do not shoot for a reason. Small powder rooms that are not overly upgraded. You don't need to include the powder room. They're often difficult to capture the scale of a true powder room. So we try to leave those out sometimes unless they're aesthetically pleasing. Closets. Unless your closets are completely behind closed doors, we don't shoot closets. I don't care how organized and color coordinated they are. Leave the closet out. Let the buyer see that value when they get there. Let them see it. Leave something like, oh my gosh, I'm pleasantly surprised by seeing this, right? Garages. I don't care about your epoxy floor. The buyers don't care about how organized and clean it is. It's very difficult to capture how cool or nice the garage is, just like the closet, unless you have lifts in there. You have things that will convey with the property. You want to showcase the scale of having multiple cars in the garage. I know there are opposing opinions about this. However, if it doesn't fit that description, there really isn't much value in it. I have not spent much time in garages showing properties over the last 10 years, maybe a handful of times where there were elaborate details in those garages. Outside of that, is it a 3-car? Is it a 4-car? Is it a 10-car? Does it have a lift? How tall are the ceilings? Is it light? Is there storage? Is it a water softener? Do they have reverse osmosis? Is there a vacuum system? Whatever. Then they're back to the house. Most people don't spend a bunch of time. Husbands, men, boyfriends, whatever, she sheds. If you want to fight me on this, I've been doing this for 10 years. This is all I do. Of the thousands of tours that I've done on homes, this is my personal opinion and the value that I feel goes into the house, not necessarily the garage, so it doesn't need to be showcased in a photo. Save that for an actual tour. The listing description. There's also opposing things here. If you can identify, there's limits and character counts when it comes to listing descriptions. If you can come up with every single detail that's in your home, put it through an AI tool like ChatGPT or DeepSeek or any of the other ones barred by Google, and say, I have 1,000 characters. Here's all of the main things, the main features of my home. The things that I really want to highlight are X, Y, and Z. I only have 1,000 character count. Make this a listing description for a home in McDonald Highlands or Summerlin or the Northwest. I'm in Henderson, I'm in Miami, wherever, and write this as a journalist for your favorite writer, right? And then boom, it'll spit it out. Now that's your listing description. As you're ready, you're going to want to look at what platforms you're going to want to list it on. So you got your photos. Now, if you're putting it on a platform where you can do a video, you can put your home, do a home tour on your video, do a video on your home, and you are the one doing it. Yes, you do your own home tour where, hey, my name is Sam Coleman. Welcome to 123 Main Street. I'm the owner of the home. My wife, Kara, and I, we built this home for our family. We have 3 kids and 3 dogs, Gianna, Layla, Jaden, and Max, Bella, and Luna. This is our Brady Bunch family, and we built this home because whatever, right? And then start going through the tour, showcasing how you live in the property, the value that's in the property, and then bam, there's a piece of marketing tool that will live until you unlist it or delete it. Now that home is for sale. Here's the price. Here's how to contact us in the listing description below. You do a virtual tour if you have a photographer that has video in his company, and then also virtual 3D tour. Now you can have the Matterport, all that stuff listed on Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, Homes.com, whatever platform you want to use. Now here's where things get tricky. You've done all this preparation to get your home ready. Now it's time for inquiries. It's time for inquiries. We're not even going to talk about running ads, network sphere. We're not even going to get there yet. We're talking about, all right, you got your photo, you staged it, you got the price, you're on Zillow, you got your photos and all this other stuff, you got all this marketing material, you've done your video, and now you're actually available for sale. You need to make sure that you are accessible. One of the things that we've been able to do is create a system within our brokerage where we never miss a listing appointment or showing appointment for our clients. There have been so many times where I've been the second or third listing agent behind a seller, and they said, we just didn't get any showings. And I said, why do you think that you didn't get any showings? I don't know. We asked our agent, and our agent, they just said there just wasn't much activity. And I said, man, I've had buyers for your home, and the agent was actually just not in town, or they weren't feeling well, and we weren't able to do it, and I actually sold my client another home. So if the single agent is not available, now as a seller, you aren't getting showings. I said, well, that sucks for the seller, and they may not even never know about it because they're just living their life, right? This is helpful information for you as a seller. So if you work a job, you run a business, you run an organization, you're an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur, you're a dad, you're a husband, a mom, whatever. You got your pickleball club, you're just busy. You have to understand that you may need assistance to make sure that your home is always available to be shown. So you're going to list a phone number. You can create a Google Voice number that is accessible with an email address, 123 the property 123 at 123 Main Street at gmail.com, and inquiries. Send your verifiable proof of funds. If we're talking about luxury real estate, we've seen a number of phony buyers in Las Vegas, and now we're able to stop that by having a system where we can verify the legitimacy of buyers. Are there the 1 or 2 that slip through the crack from time to time? Sure. We can't nobody's perfect, but we do our best to weed those people out. So you're going to verify proof of funds, have them email you your proof of funds with the scheduling time, with 24 hours in advance preferred. But if you're able to make a showing in an hour and 30 minutes, cool, right? Hey, when are you available to see it? Do you have your proof of funds? Perfect. Verify those proof of funds. And then now you want to set up your tour. Be flexible and accommodating to the buyer. Ask qualifying questions to the buyer before setting the appointment. Where are you moving from? What makes you interested in my house? This is going to be helpful data to find out if it's even worth showing the home, or if the buyer is, maybe they're 6 months out. What's your timeline? I'm actually the owner of the home. I'm selling it as an owner. Here's my timeline. Here's what I would like to see happen. If the property fits you, we can talk about details in person. Are you a family? If you have a 3-bedroom home and they say, hey, we have 5 children, what's the reason that you're looking at a 3-bedroom home? As a listing agent, I've had so many people come into my home and they walk in and say, this isn't going to work. And I'm saying, what makes it not work? We love everything about it. It's just too small. Well, it's 4,900 square feet, 4 bedrooms and a den. How much space do you need? We really need 6 bedrooms. Well, in the listing description, it says that. We talked to the agent. They said that this is exactly what you're looking for, but you're now saying it's not. The agent didn't qualify the buyer. And the agent didn't even know the specifications because they're flying by the seat of their pants, or maybe they didn't care, maybe they missed it, they don't take good notes, who knows? But ask these questions to the buyer. Now, if you have a property, a luxury property, now what we're seeing is multiple showings of the same property before an offer. Be prepared. You have to now not think about it as your home, think about it, put the buyer hat on, take your seller hat off, put your buyer hat on. If you are going to buy your home right now for the price that you're asking, would you just pull the trigger right away? Some people say, when I see it and I know it and I want it, I just buy it. Sure. Now, with money being so expensive, people are being a little bit more careful, and they have to be sure, 100% sure, this is the home for me. Even as an agent myself, I've been doing this for 10 years, and I could be a little bit biased because I see so many incredible homes. But my thought process is, one, understanding value, understanding the location, and then what are we going to utilize this property for? Is this a short-term pit stop home? Could this be a forever home? All these decisions. Where's the girls going to go? Where's my son going to go? Is there an area for the dogs? Is there a community? How far are we away from the office? How far are you away from your nail salons and hair and all the other stuff that my wife does? Like the kids' activities, play dates. All of that stuff is going through our minds as we're purchasing a property, right? So we need to understand, if we're going to purchase a property at a high dollar amount, is it worth it? So it's going to require multiple showings. And if you have a luxury home that, let's say, it transforms at night, you have a city view, encourage the buyers as you're touring them to come back at night so that they can see it in a different light, literally. Now it's time to start negotiating offers. You get an offer. Let's say you do get an offer, somebody wants to buy your home. Historically speaking, without a real estate agent, homes sell for less. Without a real estate agent, homes sell for less. But that's okay. It's okay. If a home sells for less without a real estate agent, could it be that the real estate commissions, etc., is part of that? Yes. However, the negotiation skills of a real estate agent that's deeply rooted in a community has value. So if you are able to get more for your home because you had a real estate agent that could justify value, that was, even with their commission, they got you higher than what you would have gotten yourself, I think there's value in that. And I'm not just saying that as a real estate agent. I'm creating this video, giving you all these steps so that you can do it yourself, right? However, there is value when I know, as a record-breaking agent, I get more per foot than most agents do in the same exact community. I'm talking about like doors down, same floor plan, same builder, and my listing sells more than my competitors in the same neighborhood because I'm able to justify value. And is it always the most expensive commission? No. Is it always the most well-designed home? No. But I know the value, and I'm looking at market analytics that other people aren't as I'm taking a listing. And how do I justify and price this property? And when I'm present for showings, how am I able to convey that to the potential buyer? And when I believe in the property, there's nobody that can, I have a level of conviction that allows me to sell the property higher than the competitor because I believe in the property, not in the commission that I'm gonna get for being a listing agent. I put the client over the commission, and I will not take a listing that's overpriced just to collect the listing. I run a for-profit business, and my family is more important than just getting another listing. I don't want the trouble of having someone on my back asking me why their home isn't selling when I knew it was overpriced while I'm at a tennis match with my daughter. I just won't do it. So that takes you back to pricing. Now you're negotiating these deals and the buyer wants to offer on the property. As they offer, you're going to want to look at the total potential costs associated with it. And the great way to do this is get with a title company, find a title company, and they can give you an estimated net sheet. An estimated net sheet. Basically, if I sell at these 2 or 3 different prices, what are the costs associated? Taxes, transfer fees, HOA association transfer fees, capital contribution fees, potential seller credits if they're like, hey, this thing needs to be fixed and the handyman can do it. And let's say they want $3,000, whatever, account for all the miscellaneous costs. And then they'll spit out these numbers for you. Now you have basically what will be an estimated settlement statement, which you would potentially net if you were to sell at these different prices. Now you have a bargaining tool to say, I don't want to sell below this. And what I've seen over the years is sellers are fixated with a number in their mind of what they want to sell for, and they don't pay attention to their net, what they're netting when they walk away. The top line number doesn't matter. The bottom line number. If you wanted to sell for $5 million and that was your number, but you had 100,000 in seller concessions, and by the time you walk away, you're like, man, I sold my house for $5 million, but the net wasn't what you thought. You paid attention to the wrong thing. The top line doesn't necessarily matter as much as the bottom line. So if you're trying to get a certain net, we can get you that certain net if you understand all those potential costs associated with selling your home. Now, closing. You can hire an attorney. You can pay an agent a flat fee. You can do all these things to facilitate the documentation, the paperwork. You can download an RPA, a legal Nevada RPA, do this all yourself, pay a notary to notarize a contract. You can do all this stuff on your own and negotiate with the potential buyer. Now, here are the things, the milestones that you're going to want to hit within selling a home. And this is specific to Las Vegas. So buyer wants to buy your home today. They should have a certain amount of time to do their due diligence to purchase the home, do a home inspection, do their own inspections, go through everything it is that they need to go through to say that, all right, we want to do this. They should put their earnest money deposit down, something that you feel is put some skin in the game for them to purchase your home. The wedding band, the engagement ring that says, hey, this EMD, I take you to be my lawfully wedded future homeowner, right? That's your EMD. Then you're going to do your due diligence. And after due diligence, let's say they're getting a loan. Talk to the lender when they submit their offer. They should have an underwritten approval, pre-approval, where they're saying, hey, this person is qualified. We have their documents. We believe that this is a qualified buyer for your home. This is the amount of time that it'll take for me to get a loan qualification fully underwritten and ready to be approved. This is the amount of time that we're going to need for an appraiser. And then you're going to have to order your HOA documents. If you're in an HOA, and you can do that, partner with the title company, and they can help you along in that process. Or if you have an attorney that can do that for you, or if you pay an agent that they can facilitate that process for you. But either way, it's a lot of steps and that you're going to need throughout that process. Now, if you're going to need an appraisal, the appraiser will contact you to set up that appointment. You have to be available. You have to be available for the home inspection. This will take several hours for them to inspect. And basically, they're trying to break your home, find everything that could potentially be wrong with it. One of the biggest issues that people typically have with home inspections is that home inspectors typically will justify the value of charging what they charge, even when the home is almost next to perfect. You may, as a seller, get a home inspection done, fix everything on it, and then another home inspector comes and finds other things wrong with it and call it out. This actually just happened. When a home fell out of escrow, we had another inspector days later come and call out something else, and the seller's like, that was dumb, and we'll fix it anyway. But it happens all the time. Now you've gone through the process, you got your home inspection done, got the appraisal done, it came back at value. Now you got your HOA docs, you've given them to them. It's at the end of, you're at the home stretch, and now let's say they're ready to do their final walkthrough. They want to do a final walkthrough a few days prior to closing just to make sure that they are getting what they paid for. You should vacate the property for this process. You should not have any of your items or anything that you negotiated, whether it's furniture or anything, you should have it removed from the property unless it was unless it was a contractual obligation to be there, so that when they do their final walkthrough, they're like, this is what we're paid for. If you have holes in the wall from removing pictures and you have a luxury home, fix the holes, patch the holes, and paint the entire wall. This is the cost of doing business. Or give a credit, negotiate, say, hey, we're going to remove the TVs from the wall. We're going to remove the these paintings from the wall. We're going to patch them. We may not paint, but we're going to patch and touch these things up so that you can do your own thing. Whatever, but do something because buyers are expecting it. Now, you're going to schedule your signing. You can schedule remotely in some instances with the title company. The buyer's going to sign. So now you're going to reach out to the title company and say, hey, has the buyer signed? Have they wired their funds? And then has the lender funded? If it's cash, obviously you want to know if they have funded their the full amount prior to the close of escrow. And in Las Vegas, if you're not using attorneys, in some states where there aren't title and escrow and everything is done by attorneys, you want to make sure that you have proof that it's been funded properly and that you're prepared to close. And as you're going to prepare to close, everybody is signed. This is an opportunity to potentially hash out, make sure that you have some type of walkthrough and release. Something that's going to release your obligation from anything after their final walkthrough. They've done their walkthrough and they say, hey, we signed off on this. I'm getting what I said I paid for. Done. Now you're going to make sure that you're clear of any obligation. In Las Vegas, they will send off this file to completion. And when it's completed, they're going to say, the Clark County has recorded. Now that the property has been recorded and transferred ownership, now you can give the keys. I do not recommend post-possession for anybody. I do not recommend pre-possession for anybody prior to having that confirmation from the title company. Reason being, let's say they wire money and then they, for whatever reason, they cancel it, or it was fraud, or whatever. Now they're in a home, they've transferred property. Now you have to go through this entire process. Like Murphy's Law. The deal isn't done until the deal is done. You don't get the keys until the property is closed, until it says it's yours. Then post-possession, let's say you're like, all right, I need a couple days afterward. Be prepared to leave a deposit because now you're a tenant of your property and now you need a post-possession agreement. Something, written documentation with some money left in escrow for whatever reason to protect yourself and them to say that, hey, the property is now conveying, but they're going to stay a few days to exit the property. And as they exit the property, I want to make sure that they're not banging up the walls, taking things, whatever, and we're going to leave a secure amount in escrow and it can be released immediately after we both sign off and say that the property is good to go. Now that you've done this and you've gone through each of these steps, and you've sold your property, I want you to look at the amount of time that it takes to sell a property. And this is me going through the process after doing it so many times. I've sold hundreds and hundreds of $1 million in real estate and worked with the most successful people in the world, not just in Las Vegas, in the world that live here in Las Vegas, that buy and sell here in Las Vegas. Is the opportunity, while you're selling your home, the amount of money that you've saved, is it worth the time that you spent doing it yourself? If the answer is yes, here you go. If the answer is not, my contact information is on the screen and then or in the description below, one of the two. I haven't decided if I'm gonna edit this video or even put it out. So if you're seeing it, my contact information is somewhere here and you want to sell with Sam, we've been successfully doing this for 10 years. Contact me below, send me an email. If you're looking to relocate to Las Vegas, I will create a buyer format, how to buy a home in Las Vegas without a real estate agent as well, and the potential pitfalls of hiring an agent. That video is going to be next. So if you want to work with us, information is below. Again, at no cost to you, my duty and service is to the people. We service people, not price points. Whether you're buying a $300,000 condo or a $30 million home, we are here for you. We service the people. And thank you as always for everybody that has supported me, from my home tours to just doing business with us, people that have invested with me in my fund, and then even people that just refer me. Thank you. I appreciate it. I wouldn't be the man I am today without all of the journey, and all the people that came along with me on the journey. So thank you. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video.